99% of you are not subscribed to the channel. At 1,000 subscribers, I will post a series of special stories. Subscribe now. The year was 2150, and humanity had finally reached the stars. The United Earth Federation, UEF, had established diplomatic relations with various alien species, forming the Galactic Council. The Council's purpose was to ensure peace and cooperation among the different civilizations scattered across the galaxy. On board the UEF Starship Ambassador, Captain Maria Fernandez was preparing for an important diplomatic mission. The ship was scheduled to meet with the Zorvaxians, a race known for their strict cultural protocols and pride in their culinary traditions. The meeting was crucial, as it would determine whether the Zorvaxians would join the Galactic Council. "Captain, we're approaching Zorvaxian space," said Lieutenant Rajesh Patel, the ship's communications officer, his voice calm, yet filled with the anticipation that everyone on the ship was feeling. "Thank you, Lieutenant," Maria replied. "All hands, prepare for docking procedures and ensure our diplomatic packages are ready." The ambassador smoothly docked with the Zorvaxian mothership, an imposing vessel covered in intricate carvings and glowing with a soft, eerie light. The UEF delegation, led by Captain Fernandez, was escorted to the Zorvaxian Council chamber. The room was grand, with high ceilings and walls adorned with vibrant tapestries depicting Zorvaxian history. Each tapestry told a story of valor, conquest, and the rich cultural heritage of the Zorvaxian people. At the head of the chamber stood High Chancellor Zorvan, a tall, dignified figure with shimmering scales that reflected the light in a mesmerizing display. His eyes, a deep shade of violet, radiated intelligence and authority. He greeted the human delegation with a respectful nod. "Welcome, representatives of Earth," Zorvan said in a deep, resonant voice that echoed throughout the chamber. "We are honored to have you here." "We are honored to be here, High Chancellor," Maria responded, her tone diplomatic and warm. "As a gesture of goodwill, we have brought a selection of Earth snacks for you to enjoy." Maria presented a tray filled with various human snacks, including potato chips, chocolates, and exotic fruits. The tray was a colorful array, meant to showcase the diversity of Earth's culinary delights. The Zorvaxian Council members, curious but reserved, examined the offerings with cautious expressions. Chancellor Zorvan picked up a chocolate bar, sniffed it cautiously, and then took a small bite. His eyes widened, and he immediately spat it out, causing a commotion among the council members. They began to murmur in their native tongue, a melodic yet intense language that conveyed their shock and disapproval. "Captain Fernandez, what is the meaning of this?" Zorvan demanded, his voice now tinged with anger. "You insult us with these abominations." Confused and alarmed, Maria tried to explain. "High Chancellor, these snacks are considered delicacies on Earth. We meant no disrespect." "Delicacies?" Zorvan scoffed, his scales shimmering a dark shade of red, a clear sign of his agitation. "These items are an affront to our culinary heritage. We cannot tolerate such disrespect. The negotiations are over." With that, the Zorvaxian Council members abruptly left the chamber, their robes swishing dramatically as they turned away. The UEF delegation stood stunned and bewildered, the gravity of the situation sinking in. Back on the Ambassador, Captain Fernandez held an emergency meeting with her senior staff. The mood was tense as they tried to understand what had gone wrong. "How could our snacks cause such an uproar?" Maria asked, frustration evident in her voice. "We need answers." Dr. Evelyn Carter, the ship's cultural liaison and an expert in xenocultural studies, spoke up. "Captain, it's possible that the Zorvaxians have specific dietary customs that we inadvertently violated. I suggest we conduct a thorough analysis of their cultural practices to pinpoint the issue." "Agreed," Maria said, her mind racing with the potential diplomatic fallout. "Lieutenant Patel, gather all available data on Zorvaxian cuisine and customs. Dr. Carter, work with our culinary team to analyze the snacks we offered." As the team delved into their research, they discovered that Zorvaxians had a deeply ingrained cultural taboo against certain flavors and ingredients. Specifically, they considered sugar to be a contaminant, and the combination of sweet and salty flavors was seen as a sign of barbarism. These nuances were critical and had been completely overlooked by the UEF delegation. Armed with this knowledge, Dr. Carter devised a plan to rectify the situation. "Captain, if we can present the Zorvaxians with a traditional Earth meal that aligns with their culinary values, we might be able to salvage the negotiations." "Let's do it," Maria decided, her resolve hardening. "We can't afford to lose this opportunity." The culinary team worked tirelessly to create a new menu, focusing on savory and umami flavors while avoiding any hint of sweetness. They prepared dishes like roasted vegetables, seasoned meats, and a variety of spices that mirrored Zorvaxian preferences. The new menu was a stark contrast to the initial tray of snacks, carefully designed to respect and honor Zorvaxian culinary traditions. With their new menu in hand, Captain Fernandez and her delegation requested a second audience with the Zorvaxian Council. To their relief, Chancellor Zorvan agreed, albeit with a note of caution. As they prepared to re-enter the council chamber, Maria took a deep breath. This was their chance to make things right. She knew that the success of their mission depended not just on the food, but on their ability to demonstrate genuine respect and understanding for Zorvaxian culture. The stakes were high, but Maria and her team were ready to do whatever it took to bridge the gap and foster a lasting alliance. Back on the Ambassador, Captain Maria Fernandez convened an emergency meeting with her senior staff in the ship's conference room. The tension in the room was palpable, as everyone struggled to comprehend how their well-intentioned gesture had gone so horribly wrong. "How could our snacks cause such an uproar?" Maria asked, her frustration evident. "We need answers, and we need them fast." Dr. Evelyn Carter, the ship's cultural liaison and expert in xenocultural studies, leaned forward. "Captain, it's possible that the Zorvaxians have specific dietary customs that we inadvertently violated. I suggest we conduct a thorough analysis of their cultural practices to pinpoint the issue." Maria nodded, her mind racing. "Agreed. Lieutenant Patel, gather all available data on Zorvaxian cuisine and customs. Dr. Carter, work with our culinary team to analyze the snacks we offered." "On it, Captain," Patel replied, already tapping commands into his console. As Patel began his search, the rest of the team waited anxiously. It didn't take long before he pulled up a vast array of data on the Zorvaxian people, their culture, and their dietary habits. "Captain, I found some detailed reports on Zorvaxian culinary practices," Patel said. "It seems they have very strict rules about food. Certain flavors and ingredients are considered sacred, while others are outright taboo." Dr. Carter examined the data closely. "From what I'm seeing here, the Zorvaxians consider sugar to be a contaminant. They have a deeply ingrained cultural taboo against sweet and salty combinations, which they view as a sign of barbarism." Maria sighed heavily. "So our well-meaning gesture was the equivalent of offering them something highly offensive. This explains their reaction." Dr. Carter continued, "We need to show them that we respect their traditions. I propose we prepare a new selection of dishes that align with their culinary values. We should focus on savory and umami flavors, which are highly regarded in their culture." "Let's do it," Maria decided. "We can't afford to lose this opportunity." The ship's culinary team, led by Chef Anton Volkov, got to work. They studied the Zorvaxian dietary preferences in detail, meticulously planning a menu that would honor the alien race's culinary heritage. The team prepared a variety of dishes, such as roasted vegetables seasoned with herbs and spices, grilled meats marinated to perfection, and an assortment of side dishes that emphasized savory flavors. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Patel continued to monitor Zorvaxian communications, hoping to gauge their reaction and any potential openness to further dialogue. "Captain," Patel reported, "I've intercepted some internal communications. The Zorvaxians are still upset, but there's a hint of curiosity about our intentions. They haven't completely written us off yet." "That's our opening," Maria said. "We'll request another audience with the council. We need to make it clear that we meant no disrespect and are willing to learn and adapt." Dr. Carter added, "We should also prepare a formal apology, acknowledging our mistake and expressing our sincere desire to understand and honor their traditions." With their new menu in hand and a heartfelt apology drafted, Captain Fernandez sent a carefully worded message to Chancellor Zorvan requesting a second meeting. The wait for a response felt interminable, but finally, a reply came through. "Captain Fernandez," Zorvan's voice echoed through the communication channel. "We are willing to grant you another audience. However, understand that our patience is limited. Any further disrespect will not be tolerated." "Thank you, High Chancellor," Maria replied. "We assure you, our intention is to show our deep respect for Zorvaxian culture." As the time for the second meeting approached, the atmosphere on the ambassador was tense but hopeful. The delegation rehearsed their presentation, ensuring that every detail was perfect. They understood that this was not just about the food, but about demonstrating genuine respect and a willingness to learn. Entering the Zorvaxian council chamber once more, Captain Fernandez felt the weight of the moment. The grandeur of the room, with its high ceilings and intricate tapestries, seemed even more imposing than before. Chancellor Zorvan and the council members stood in their regal robes, their expressions inscrutable. "Captain Fernandez," Zorvan began, his tone measured, "you have requested another audience. We trust that you have a compelling reason." "High Chancellor, members of the council," Maria started, her voice steady but humble, "we deeply regret the misunderstanding caused by our previous offerings. We have since learned about your culinary customs and have prepared a new selection of dishes that we hope will be more to your liking." Maria signaled to the culinary team, who brought in trays of the newly prepared food. The Zorvaxian council members inspected the dishes with cautious curiosity. Chancellor Zorvan took a bite of the roasted vegetables, his expression softening as he chewed. This is quite enjoyable," Zorvan admitted. He sampled more of the dishes, and soon the entire council was partaking in the meal, their initial hostility fading away. "We appreciate your efforts to understand our culture," Zorvan said, addressing the UEF delegation. "It is clear that your intentions were honorable, despite the initial misunderstanding." Relieved and hopeful, Maria responded, "High Chancellor, our goal is to foster mutual respect and cooperation. We believe that, despite our differences, we can find common ground and work together for the betterment of all our peoples." Chancellor Zorvan nodded thoughtfully. "Very well. We will resume the negotiations with a renewed sense of goodwill. Let this meal mark the beginning of a new chapter in our relationship." The UEF delegation left the council chamber with a sense of accomplishment. What had started as a diplomatic disaster was now on the path to becoming a significant alliance. The incident with the snacks had taught both sides a valuable lesson about the importance of cultural understanding and the power of food in bridging divides. The UEF delegation once again entered the Grand Zorvaxian Council chamber, this time with a renewed sense of determination. The air was thick with tension as Chancellor Zorvan eyed them warily, his violet eyes scrutinizing every detail of the human entourage. "Captain Fernandez, you requested another meeting. I trust you have a good reason," Zorvan said, his tone measured but with an underlying hint of skepticism. "High Chancellor, we deeply regret the misunderstanding caused by our previous offerings," Maria began, her voice steady but humble. "We have since learned about your culinary customs and have prepared a new selection of dishes that we hope will be more to your liking." Maria signaled to the culinary team, who brought in trays of the newly prepared food. The Zorvaxian council members inspected the dishes with cautious curiosity. Chancellor Zorvan took a bite of the roasted vegetables, and his expression softened almost immediately. This is quite enjoyable," Zorvan admitted. His scales shimmered a calming green, indicating a shift in his mood. He sampled more of the dishes, and soon the entire council was partaking in the meal, their initial hostility fading away. "We appreciate your efforts to understand our culture," Zorvan said, addressing the UEF delegation. "It is clear that your intentions were honorable, despite the initial misunderstanding." Relieved and hopeful, Maria responded, "High Chancellor, our goal is to foster mutual respect and cooperation. We believe that despite our differences, we can find common ground and work together for the betterment of all our peoples." Chancellor Zorvan nodded thoughtfully. "Very well. We will resume the negotiations with a renewed sense of goodwill. Let this meal mark the beginning of a new chapter in our relationship." The UEF delegation left the council chamber with a sense of accomplishment. What had started as a diplomatic disaster was now on the path to becoming a significant alliance. The incident with the snacks had taught both sides a valuable lesson about the importance of cultural understanding and the power of food in bridging divides. Back on the Ambassador, the crew celebrated their success, albeit with a sense of relief, rather than outright jubilation. Captain Fernandez knew that while they had managed to salvage the situation, there was still much work to be done to build a lasting relationship with the Zorvaxians. "Captain, incoming message from the Galactic Council," Lieutenant Patel announced, his voice cutting through the celebratory chatter. "Put it through," Maria replied, stepping into the ship's communication center. The holographic image of Secretary General Haruto Tanaka flickered to life. "Captain Fernandez, I understand there was an incident with the Zorvaxians. We've received reports that you've managed to resolve it. Can you confirm?" "Yes, Secretary General," Maria said, standing at attention. "We experienced a cultural misunderstanding due to the presentation of our Earth snacks, but we were able to rectify the situation by preparing dishes that aligned with Zorvaxian culinary traditions. The negotiations are back on track." "Excellent work, Captain," Tanaka said, a hint of a smile on his usually stern face. "This alliance is crucial for the Galactic Council. Your ability to adapt and show respect for Zorvaxian customs is commendable. Continue to foster this relationship." "Thank you, sir," Maria responded. "We will continue to do our best." As the communication ended, Maria reflected on the past few days. The incident had been a stark reminder of the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. It wasn't just about technology or treaties, but about understanding and respecting the profound differences in culture and tradition. The next few days were a flurry of activity as the UEF delegation worked closely with the Zorvaxian Council. They held discussions on various topics, from trade agreements to shared technological advancements. Each meeting was accompanied by carefully prepared meals that respected Zorvaxian tastes, solidifying the goodwill that had been tentatively established. One evening, after a particularly successful session, Chancellor Zorvan invited Captain Fernandez and her team to a private dinner. It was an unprecedented gesture, signifying a deepening trust between the two groups. The dining hall was an exquisite space, with bioluminescent plants casting a gentle glow and soft music playing in the background. The meal consisted of a fusion of Zorvaxian and Earth cuisines, symbolizing the blending of their cultures. "Captain Fernandez," Zorvan began, raising a glass filled with a vibrant, sparkling liquid, "today we celebrate not just the resumption of our negotiations, but the beginning of a true partnership. Your dedication to understanding our ways has shown us that humans are capable of great respect and adaptability. We look forward to a prosperous future together." "Thank you, High Chancellor," Maria replied, raising her own glass. "We are honored to have this opportunity and will continue to strive for mutual understanding and cooperation." As they toasted, Maria felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. The journey had been challenging, but it had also been a profound learning experience. She knew that the path ahead would require continued effort and sensitivity, but the foundation they had built was strong. The dinner ended on a high note, with both sides sharing stories and laughter, breaking down the barriers that had initially seemed insurmountable. It was a moment of unity, a testament to the potential for harmony in the vast expanse of space. As the ambassador prepared to depart from Zorvaxian space, Captain Fernandez couldn't help but smile. They had turned a potential catastrophe into a historic opportunity, proving that even in the vast expanse of space, diplomacy and goodwill could prevail. And thus, the incident that began with a tray of snacks ended with the promise of interstellar unity, reminding all involved that sometimes the smallest misunderstandings can spark the most significant changes. The UEF and the Zorvaxians had taken their first steps towards a shared future, one built on respect, understanding, and the simple yet profound act of breaking bread together.